her condition, her symptoms?
She sits daily in a darkened room. She can't stand the light. She's been like this for the last 18 months. Ever since she returned from India.
India? Interesting. What took her so far from home?
Love. And marriage to the man she loved. George Cunningham. They were childhood sweethearts. Neither of them ever looked at another, not even while they were parted, while he was away making his way in the world. For 5 years he was away, first in London and then in India. When he returned, they were wed, and scarcely 2 months later, he was made commander of an Indiaman sailing for Madras. Of course, Isabel went with him. You cannot imagine the things that child has suffered. It is a miracle her mind survived it.
Her mind, you say? So this is not just some affliction of the eyes that troubles the young lady?
She may tell you the whole story herself, Doctor. All I will say is that she suffered some kind of fit, a faint, brought on by a hallucination, a vision, if you will, of her dear dead husband, George, who died on that voyage and whose body she saw committed to the depths of the Indian Ocean. It is a vision that has recurred again and again. But please, ask her yourself, hear her story.
It sounds as if she is in the grip of a condition we call monomania. Idée fixe, a single solitary delusion.
Indeed, it is so. But please, Doctor, ask her yourself. Hear her story.
Mrs. Cunningham, please excuse me. I am the local doctor, and although no specialist, your mother, in her concern for you, has asked me to examine your eyes to see if I can determine the cause of your photophobia, your aversion to light. She has also mentioned certain visions that have been troubling you. You may wish to discuss them? Very well. Well, first, may I please examine your eyes? I can see no obvious cause for your photophobia. Please, tell me something of your voyage to India. What happened on the journey may have caused your symptoms. And perhaps those that your mother mentioned. She said you had been subject to fainting and terrible hallucinations.
I am not mad.
Of that I am assured. But please, tell me about the trip. It may be helpful.
At first, I was naturally apprehensive of such a voyage, all the way to India. But I had such love for my George and such faith in him. And I quickly came to enjoy the life on a great three-masted sailing ship. There was another lady on board, a Mrs. Hardy bound for Cape Town with 2 servant girls. The first officer was called Crawley, and the second mate was a man named Buste. The rest of the crew I saw little of. Life was hard on a sailing ship and the men were busy. There was a steward, a German called Kreutz. I did not like the look of him. And George, when I mentioned it, did say he wasn't too sure of him, but he'd had no choice in picking the crew. At the Cape, Mrs. Hardy disembarked and her 2 servants went ashore. One had agreed to stay with me to Madras, but did not come back aboard. I went to George to delay sailing, but Crawley pointed out that a favourable wind had sprung up, and so we departed under a stiff gale for Mozambique.
Hoist the mainsail. Do you want to miss that wind? Aye, aye!
We were following the coast of Madagascar. George told me stories of the cannibalism that had been reported there. I suppose he meant to distract me. And all it did was frighten me, and make me even more anxious. Especially when the wind dropped and we were becalmed off that fearful place. At night I couldn't sleep. I would walk the deck, seeing the fires of the natives on the shore and imagining all sorts of horrors. The air was still. The sea was like glass, and the sails hung loose on the masts. The men were listless, and all the time that dark, forbidding coastline filled my gaze.
It sounds as if you're already suffering from nervous exhaustion. The lack of sleep, the lack of female company, the lurid tales on an overwrought mind. Yes.
But worse, far worse was to come. As I wandered the deck, Kreutz came to me. He said that the captain, my George, was ill. I rushed to the cuddy cabin he used and found my beloved George in agony with spasms of pain in his stomach and chest. Oh, he lay there vomiting.
Oh, Isabella, what's happening to me? I'm dying.
I did not know whose name he was trying to say. Kreutz? But at that moment he passed out. Second mate Buse came in, and I asked him what he thought had happened to George, but he just looked wildly and shook his head. I nursed George. He was obviously dying. To the voices of the men, Crawley, Kreutz and Buse, and the tread of their feet on the deck above, George raved wildly. Unconnected words. Some about our childhood, some about the ship and his command, some about the crew, his distrust of Kreutz, all deranged and mixed up. Then he turned, staring at me, reached out, and I saw the life leave him. I screamed and rushed out onto the deck. I fear I might have thrown myself overboard. Crawley seized me and dragged me back. He and Kreutz came to the cuddy. They undressed George and wound a large sheet around his body. As I worked, I could not bear to look at the lamp. After they left, I dimmed its flame and sat with my dear George in near darkness. Lying there in the long white shroud, I pulled back the folds and kissed his dear face. I must have slept.
You were exhausted, my dear. The sleep was a reflex, a protective reflex from the brain.
When I came to, I heard voices again. Crawley and Kreutz.
When the wind starts, it'll be from the north. We should make all speed for Rio.
Yeah, we get rid of the cargo and head for the West Indies.
Right, Hans. Tell the ship's carpenter to knock out the coffin. We'll put the body over the side tomorrow.
What do we do with her?
Put her ashore. The natives will find a use for her.
You're forgetting we're still becalmed. There's no wind to get us out of this channel.
No, nor none to bring no one looking for us, neither. Now, the body, let's get it up on deck.
They came and ordered me back to my cabin. Before they could take him, I pulled back the folds and kissed my beloved George for the last time. His pale face was imprinted on my eyes and mind. I could not bring myself to go up on deck, even to see my dear husband being committed to the sea.
Mein Gott. The coffin is split open in the water.
The body's just floating there. Oh, God. We need a wind to get us out of here.
I lay in my cabin for days in the dark. Kreutz brought me food, but I could not eat. The ship was still becalmed. I expected at any time to be put ashore. I was terrified for my life.
There is more. Crawley tried to force himself upon her. Oh, he murdered her husband, and then he came to her and he said she could still be the wife of a ship's captain. Oh, to think that my daughter should have to suffer the attentions of such a loathsome man. He said if she refused, oh, she would be put ashore and she could be the wife of some native in Madagascar.
Even more stress for your mind to cope with. It is little wonder that you are haunted by these memories.
I did think of killing myself. Or killing Crawley. I had hidden a knife, but I couldn't kill anyone. Not him. Not myself. I defied him for several days.
To think that my poor girl should be put in such a position, trapped by such a monster.
At night I went up on deck, gazed on the dark waters where my George had been put. I was in despair. Then I saw him. My husband, still in the white sheet, torn open to reveal his face, floating in the black waters, floating upright, lit only by the moon. His face, blue-white with his eyes staring at me. Even with my love for him, I was shocked. I could not move. Those eyes held me. I heard Crawley and Kreutz coming, so I tore myself away and hid.
The body's still floating there. Like his ghost was holding us here. Still no wind to get us out of here.
Damn that carpenter. The weights must have slipped to his feet when the coffin split.
And those eyes, staring. I can't stand it. Kreutz, tell the men, there's 20 guineas for any man that'll sink that body.
They wouldn't like it. They're superstitious. I think they may turn against us.
I heard the men coming and I rushed back to my cabin, not knowing what the outcome would be.
It's a curse on the ship. The captain wants his revenge, and he'll hold us here till he gets it.
His neighbours killed him. He wants justice. Get him. Get him, or he'll never let us go.
I heard fighting on deck. What was to be my fate now? And then they came to my cabin. It was Bust who had taken the ship. He said that Crawley and Kreutz were dead and George was revenged. I looked out of the cabin window and saw the corpse still watching the ship with those dead eyes in the moonlight. I implored Bust to recover his body and rebury him with proper dignity, and that they did next day, along with the bodies of Crawley and Kreutz. The very next day, a wind sprang up, and the ship sailed as if released from a spell. I made good time to India. I remained there for 2 months. But I found it hard to put into words my experiences and the sights I had seen. The pale face of my George and his unblinking eyes watching from the sea. I see them still.
This is indeed a true case of monomania, brought on by the fears and strains of the events on the Indiaman and grief. The fixed vision of her husband's corpse floating beside the ship, staring, is imprinted on her retinae and brain. An idée fixe. Such a condition is difficult to treat. I will continue to visit. It is possible that some catharsis will occur, some final act.
George! George!
Mrs. Cunningham! Isabella!
It would seem that the spectre of George Cunningham had finally claimed his true love. Oh, from the depths of the Indian Ocean he summoned her. Strange things happen at sea.